everybody, my name is Sarah, and if you can see my wonderful face, then that means that it is Monday yet again on the Trevor Space collab channel. So before I get this video started, I would just like to share with you all this feeling that I have been feeling for the past few hours. So this morning, I took a shower and I shaved my legs. Typical summer day, I'm gonna be wearing shorts. I don't want people to see my hairy legs. So I shaved them, that's that. So if you've shaved your legs before, and I mean anybody, guy or girl, non-binary, whatever, anybody can shave their legs. If you have, then I'm pretty sure you'll know what I'm talking about. So you know that feeling after you shave your legs, and your legs are soft and supple and smooth, and when you rub them together, your hairless legs, they feel so wonderful. So like the feeling, it's almost impossible to describe. It's almost like riding a unicorn. It's that wonderful. When you rub your hairless legs together, it's almost like the good Lord has reached down and personally massaged your hairless legs with a lotion made from the tears of baby goats and beeswax. Yeah. That pretty much actually describes it exactly. So if you haven't shaved your legs before, just picture that. And that's how it feels. And if you have, then I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, that amazing feeling, soft legs, oh my god. Unless, of course, I'm the only one who has been feeling this, and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, that would sort of make things awkward. But whatever, I just had to get that off my chest and share it with you all. So this week's video, or the theme this week, is where we come from. And I don't think you all actually know this. I haven't told you, so you don't know. But I wasn't actually born in Texas. I live here now with my family, but I was actually born in a city sort of north of the capital of Iceland called Almahechia. You probably never heard of it, nor has the internet, which means you won't find it if you look it up. Mostly because it's so small and nobody except for the people who live there have ever heard of it. So there are only about 40 people, 40 who live there. And I did live there. I was born there actually with my parents and my little brother. And I lived there up until I was about 10 years old. I didn't have what you would call the ideal childhood, because by the time we're old enough to walk and talk, the children of Almahechia are sent to work at the factory, which is basically the main focus of our town. You don't go to school, you don't have any other jobs. Everybody works at the factory. That's the point of Almahechia. If you don't like it, you move somewhere else. And my parents liked it there, so we stayed. When I was about 5 years old, I started working at the factory. And the factory, it's very large, considering what we make and how many people work there. And there are two parts to the factory. The part right there and the part right there. And I worked in the part right there, and my family and my brother, they worked in the part right there. So I'm sure you're wondering, oh Sarah, what did you make? It's a factory, you gotta tell us what you made. Well, we made, make fun of it all you want, we made lotion. Which doesn't sound all that great, and it doesn't sound like an important job, but I assure you it was. So there were two main parts to this lotion, and one part of the factory and the other part of the factory, they made each part. So the first part, the part that my family worked in, that I couldn't, they made the beeswax. They kept bees in their hives, and they took the honey and they would make it into beeswax. And they kept these bees, and they're the ones to collect it and form it into the beeswax. And unfortunately, I couldn't work over there because I'm deathly allergic to them. So if I go near, if I get stung, I'll blister up and things won't be good. So I got assigned to the other part of the factory, which I think is frankly the more difficult line of work, this part of the factory. Because beeswax, it's just beeswax. You have to take care of bees. It's not all that bad. The other part of the factory, however, we had to deal with baby goats. So right there, like right over there, we had a little pen with our baby goats in it. And every day when we came to work, we'd take a baby goat and we'd take it to a little room and we would make them cry, sadly enough, to get the other ingredient in our lotion. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, you abused the baby goats, you hurt them, you made them cry, you're a horrible person, Sarah. And no, we didn't hurt them, we didn't beat them. we made them cry through much more humane methods. Sometimes we showed them movies, such as The Fault in Our Stars, Charlotte's Web, Titanic. Oh, that one was the worst. That was the worst. You should have seen those baby goats crying at Titanic. Oh, that was the worst sight you could have ever seen. So sad, so hopeless. And these baby goats, they were sensitive creatures, so they cried. They cried every time they saw the end of a movie. They cried when we read them books. They cried for everything. But no, we did not beat them. These goats were treated very well, but we had to collect their tears. So, let's say they just watched Charlotte's Web. We go up to the goats after Charlotte's Web, and we take a little vial and we collect their tears. And then my family and everybody else who worked in that side of the factory, they'd take their beeswax and we'd come together in the middle. And we'd combine these ingredients in, I would go as far as to call it magic. The way that this lotion was made, you'd have to see it to believe it, but I would say that it was magical. The way this lotion was made, magic lotion, yeah. So we combine them in the bowl, the baby goat's tears and the beeswax. We'd mix it up, we'd stir it real good. We'd put it in the oven and heat a little bit, and then take it back out. Then we'd mix it some more. And then just like that, as if a fairy had come out and sprinkled some magic dust over it, it became lotion. And it was the best lotion on earth. You could not get lotion anywhere else. Unfortunately, this lotion wasn't for us, or for any other human, that is. This lotion had a special purpose. And it's another reason that this factory in our town, Almahechia, was so secretive. Why nobody else really knows about us. Every few months, I'm not sure I should be telling this to the camera, but I'll do it anyway. Every few months, we'd stockpile the lotion. And we'd stockpile it in this little room right about there. And we'd fill it up to the top. And every few months, the good Lord, he'd reach down and he'd take that lotion. And he would use that lotion, and he would give that lotion to people who needed it. Because the good Lord is a good man. And that's why our job is so important, to make this lotion for the good Lord. So every few months, he'd reach down from the great above, from the clouds, and he'd grab this lotion and he'd take it. And if he was feeling generous, he'd give us a few more baby goats, he'd give us some more bees. He'd give us food and water and our life sources. And then he'd leave. And this happened every few months. We'd make the lotion, he'd take the lotion, he'd give us some stuff. It was a good life, actually. Not ideal, but we led a good life. Until I was 10. So, when I was 10, I think it was March, we just finished stockpiling the little room, and we were waiting for the good Lord to reach down. And he didn't. He didn't reach down. And we didn't really think much of it. He'd never missed a pickup, ever. But he was the good Lord. He'd come through, right? No, he didn't. A few months later, he was supposed to pick up some more. By this time, the supply room, it was totally full with lotion. And he didn't reach down. And he wasn't there. And by that time, some of our bees had started dying. I know, unfortunate. But it happens. And the good Lord, he'd always reach down, he'd give us more bees. But this time he wasn't there. And the bees, they were dying. We sort of assumed it was an illness that they had, but we had faith in the good Lord. We had faith in him. A few months later, he still didn't reach down. And more of our bees were dying. Some of our goats dying too. By that time, the supply room was totally full. No room for more lotion. And we were starting to go hungry. I know, the great town of Almahechia. I mean, we'd never been hungry before, and we were hungry because the good Lord didn't give us any food. Our bees were dying. Our goats, forlorn. A few months later, good Lord, still no sign of him. By that time we were desperate, and we had actually taken some of the lotion and we'd use it on ourselves. I know, shameful, but oh my god, when you use that lotion on your legs after shaving your legs, oh my god, it's like heaven. It's almost like riding a unicorn. It's so amazing. But anyway, back to the story. The good Lord was gone. By that time, my parents had started fighting, and they decided to get a divorce because they couldn't make their marriage work. My dad, he didn't really have any place in Almahechia anymore. The factory was pretty much shut down. No hope. He moved to Dallas, Texas, in hopes of finding a job. My mom was still hopeful. She still worked every day to keep those bees alive, but her work was in vain. And eventually the factory was shut down. The lotion lay abandoned in a room, and the good Lord was still gone. He was still gone. By that time, pretty much everybody had moved out of Almahechia. And my mom, she decided that it was time. The good Lord had abandoned us. So she bought us a plane ticket to Dallas, Texas, and we moved here. Here I stand. I still live here. From the time I was 10 till now, I've had a pretty normal childhood, actually. I haven't had to deal with bees or goats, and I've gotten to go to school. By now I've actually caught up with my class, and I've learned everything I needed to learn, and things have gone swell. But the good Lord's abandoned us. So there you guys go. That was my story, where I came from. If this makes you feel any differently about me, to know that maybe I've indulged in some magic in my life, to know that I've had contact with the good Lord, it might be intimidating to some of you. And I hope it doesn't change how you view me. But no matter how positive and hopeful and considerate, compassionate, loving sounding I get in my videos, I still have a scar on my heart from where the good Lord left, from where he abandoned me and everybody else in Almahechia. Okay, so all jokes aside, I'm from Dallas. I was born in Dallas, my entire family. No, my family's from Illinois, but I'm from Dallas, and I have led an average, normal childhood. My family is average and normal. Where I came from is average and normal, and that doesn't make for an interesting video, so I told you about my time in Almahechia, which is a city that exists in my imagination, but it could exist. You never know. But it exists to me, so do all the people of Almahechia, so does the good Lord. And no, I didn't abuse any baby goats, I promise. Okay, so I guess now you know a little bit more about me, whether it be me or my imagination. Who knows? So, I love you all. Pixel hug. Woo, love you all. Okay, so I love you all. I will see you next Monday. Bye.